Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll be looking into the Z-test in statistics, which is a parametric hypothesis testing for the population means. So without further delay, let's start. So first we'll have a look at the introduction definition of Z-test. So by the definition, it is a parametric statistical hypothesis test which is used to determine whether the mean of a population is significantly different from a given value when population variance is known and the sample size is large. So in very simple terms, let me tell you what exactly Z-test is. Firstly, it is a parametric test. Parametric test means that it is applicable to only those data which is normally distributed, which means that it follows a Gaussian distribution. So this is a very prerequisite of this particular test. Now what exactly it is used for? It is used to determine whether the mean of a sample, that means your sample's average value or a mean value of your sample, is significantly different from your population mean or not. That thing it tells. Now, for that, it has certain pre assumptions. Two things it assumes. So, now to get this test applicable, it has to follow two criterias. So, first criteria is that the population variance is known to you. If this is known to you, then you can apply for Z test. But this is not only the single thing that is required. Second thing is also required, that your sample size is larger. Okay, larger than a particular threshold. Let's say 30 is the threshold. So if the population variance is known to you and the sample size is also large, then in that case Z test is very much applicable for your case. So it will accurately tell you the significant difference between the population mean and the sample mean. So I hope by the definition it is clear to you all. Now let's have a look at details of it. Now when we have to use the Z test. So as I already discussed, you should be using the Z test when you are aware of these things, whatever is present. So sample size, it has to be greater. Okay, so let's say the threshold is greater than equal to 30. So in this particular case, your sample is large in size and also it follows a normal distribution. You are aware about the population variance or standard deviation. So if this particular thing is known to you, the standard deviation of population is available with you, then you can apply for Z test. Next, in your sample, it is very random. The data points are very random and independent. If all these criterias are actually fit for your case, then in that case you can blindly apply for Z test. Now there is a condition that if your population variance or standard deviation is not known to you, or your sample size is lesser or smaller in size, then in that case you can use the T test, which we'll be looking into the next video. Now there are two types of Z test. The very first is one-tailed Z test and the second is two-tailed Z test. So one-tailed Z test has two types, left-tailed or right-tailed. It can be one of them. So what exactly is left-tailed? When your sample size, when your sample mean is lesser than your population mean, in that case you can say that it is left-tailed. If your sample mean is lesser than your population mean, then in that case it is left-tailed. If your sample mean is greater than your population mean, then in that case it is right-tailed. So this particular one-tailed Z test is used when testing if your mean is greater than or less than the specific value. Simple terms, if I would say that one-tailed Z test is gonna check whether your deviation is only in one direction, whether it is greater or less. That's it. Now let's come to the two-tailed Z test. This checks both the direction, where your sample mean is strictly not equal to the population mean. This is used when testing if mean is different from your actual specific value. So in short, if I would like to say, two-tailed test checks whether the deviation in both the direction, not only single direction. So in short, if your mean is greater than the value, it is right-tailed. If your mean is lesser than the value, it is left-tailed. If your mean and value are both strictly not equal to each other, then in that case it is two-tailed. Now let's talk about the hypothesis in Z test. So there are two hypotheses, as you already know. First is null hypothesis and second is alternative hypothesis. So null hypothesis assumes no significant difference between your sample mean and population mean. It says that it is approximately equal. Alternative hypothesis assumes that there is a significant difference between the sample mean and your population mean. So it basically has three things. First is that they are strictly not equal to each other. Second is that your population mean. Uh, Second is that your sample mean is greater than your population mean, or your sample mean is lesser than your population mean. These three, one of these three criterias will be satisfied in this particular case. So these are the two hypotheses in Z test. Now let's have a look at the formula of Z test. Z test value, that is your Z statistic, is equal to your x bar minus mu. That means this x bar is nothing but sample mean minus mu is your population mean, divided by, in brackets, your standard deviation divided by your square root of n, that means number of samples. So this denominator part is called as standard error. So there is a breakdown of all these components. First is your x bar, which is your sample mean. That means your average of the sample data points. Mu is nothing but your population mean. That means average of your population data points. It is called as hypothesized value. Next is your standard deviation, which is your population's standard deviation, which is one of the criteria which has to be satisfied for applying before Z test. Next is n. N is nothing but the sample size. That means number of observations in your sample. So remember this particular formula. It would be helpful for you to tackle any kind of numerical which comes regarding Z test. Now one more concept has to be understood by you before moving on to the numerical. The concept is level of significance, which is also called as alpha. So your level of significance means what? So basically it is the probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is that hypothesis where you say that your sample mean and population mean are approximated. Okay, they are near to each other. So the level of the level of significance is the probability of rejecting that particular thing. So common significance values are 0.05, which is nothing but your 95% confidence level. 0.01 is also common, which is 99% confidence level. So let me tell you simply, if your alpha value is 0.05, it means that you accept a 5% risk of saying that there is an effect, when in reality there is none, like wrongly failing a student who actually passes. So this is a kind of a percentage of risk that you can take. So if the risk value is this, then you can confidently say that 95% confidence you have uh, in your results. If risk value is zero point zero 0.01, then you can say that 99% is the confidence level of whatever outcome you are getting. These are the critical values of one-tailed and two-tailed Z test. So for the one-tailed Z value, the critical for the one-tailed, the critical Z value is plus or minus 1.645, and for two-tailed it is plus or minus, or and for two-tailed it is plus minus 1.96. So the critical regions are for left-tailed. You should reject if you should reject the null hypothesis if your Z value is lesser than minus 1.645. So in short, you can reject the null hypothesis if you get the Z value lesser than this value minus 1.645. You can reject the null hypothesis if you get the Z value greater than 1.645. So if you get any value which ranges between these two values, minus 1.645 to plus 1.645, then you can simply accept your null hypothesis. Next, for the two-tailed figure, you can reject if your Z value is greater than 1.96. So I hope this level of significance is understood by you. Don't worry, with the help of a numerical solving, we'll be understanding this in detail. So let's have a look at the decision rule before solving the numerical. So the very first thing is to calculate the Z value with the help of the formula that I have already shown you. You need to compute the test statistic using the formula. Second, you need to find the critical z value. Look up the critical value for your significance level. Then you can simply compare the values. Compare your mod z with the z critical, which is the actual critical z value for your level of significance. Now, for this particular second point, you get the z table, wherein it is determined for your as per the significance level value, corresponding what critical z value is present. So you can get the z table anywhere from the web, and you can download it. You can see the critical value over there, and you can get your critical z value. There you can get it for the right tailed, for left tailed also, and for two tailed also. So I hope this is clear to you all. These three steps we have to follow for any decision. So decision outcomes can be two. Either you reject the null hypothesis, or you accept the null hypothesis. The critical conditions are your whatever z value you have got. If it is greater than your z critical, then you reject the null hypothesis. If your whatever value you get, if whatever value you get for the z, it is lesser than or equal to your z critical value, then in that case you can simply accept the null hypothesis. So I hope these things are clear. Now, steps to perform Z test. First, define hypothesis. State your H0, that is your null hypothesis, and H1, that is your alternate hypothesis, clearly. This is very important. Then you have to select a alpha level, that means your significance level. Now this particular value, in real world scenarios, it is determined or it is established by an expert in that particular domain. Now it can be any domain. Let's say it is a medical domain, let's say it is supply chain domain, or any other domain. So that value is determined only by experts. It is never a random value. For numerical purpose it can be a random value, but in real world cases it is always a value which is made after a lot of decisions. Next, you need to compute the z statistic with the help of the formula. Next, you find the critical value from the z table. Next, you make the decision. And finally, you interpret the result. So, this is how you follow entire steps to perform your complete z test. So, let's start with the numerical. So, now the problem statement is as follows. A company claims that the average weight of a packet is 500 grams. So there is a company which produces some packets of something. Okay, the average weight of those packets is 500 grams. A random sample of 36 packet has the sample mean of 495 grams and the population standard deviation of 12 grams. Test at 5% significance level whether the claim is valid or not. So now from this particular problem statement, what you understand, that you have the average weight of the entire population, you have the average weight of your sample, that is 36 packets, and you also have the standard deviation of the population, which is 12 grams. You also have the significance level, that is 5%. So from the given data, we have these five things available with us. The first is x bar, which is nothing but the sample mean, which is 495 grams. Second is the population mean, which is the mu, which is nothing but 500 grams. The third is the population standard deviation, which is sigma, which is nothing but 12 grams. And next we have the sample size, which is nothing but the number of packets, n equals 36. Next we have the significance level value, which is 5% given, which is nothing but 0.05. And it is nothing but alpha. So I hope these five things that we have got from the data is clear to you all. Now let's solve the numerical by putting all these values in the formula. Now let's step by step follow whatever cycle we had, all these 6 steps, and then compute our results. So first step is just to state the hypothesis. From the example, we can say our null hypothesis is mu equals 500. That means average weight of all the packets is 500 grams. And from and the alternative hypothesis could be that the average weight of all the packets is not equal to 500 grams, which is a two-tailed z test. It could be lesser or it could be greater also. So as per critical Z value, which is plus or minus 1.96, if your Z value, whatever you get after computing all these values from the formula, if you get any value of Z between minus 1.96 to 1.96, you simply accept the null hypothesis. Otherwise, you reject the null hypothesis and you accept the alternate hypothesis. So in step 3, we'll be calculating the Z value by putting all these values in the formula. X bar is 495 minus 500 divided by 12 by square root of 36. So computing all this, you can simply get the Z value as minus 2.5. Now, you got this particular Z value. Let's compare it with the critical Z value for two-tailed Z test. See, calculated Z value is 2.5. Now let's compare it with the critical Z value. So over here you can see that calculated Z mod value. That means the mod of whatever value you have got. Minus 2.5's mod is 2.5. So 2.5 is greater than your critical Z value for your level of significance 0.05, which is 1.96. So since it is greater, we reject the null hypothesis. Since it is greater, right, as per our conditions that we have already defined, that if it lies between these range, we will accept the null hypothesis, but it doesn't, it lies somewhere here. So that is why we reject the null hypothesis and we accept the alternate hypothesis. What was our alternate hypothesis? It was stated that the average packet weight is not equal to 500 grams, hence the company's claim is not valid. So this is how you come to a final conclusion from by computing the Z value and comparing it with the critical value of Z as per your level of significance. So I hope it is very much clear to you all. I hope this entire example is clear to you all. Now, with this, we come to the end of the video, but before that, let's summarize everything. So, these are some of the key points you should keep in mind. First, it is a parametric test. It assumes that your data follows a normal distribution. It is used only for larger samples where your sample size is greater than or equal to 30, and this Z test is widely used in quality control, hypothesis testing, and comparing population means with your sample means. So I hope the entire formulation, the entire concept with example of Z test is clear to you all. I've tried my level best to make you understand this particular concept in detail. So please, if you like this particular video, please hit the like button and give a hype to this particular video. For more such videos, do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Please join me on Telegram. Thanks for watching. Have a good day ahead.